In 1962, a young heavyweight boxer and a Nation of Islam minister became close friends. They had met the year before, introduced by acquaintances who sensed a kinship between them. The boxer was 20 years old, the most physically gifted fighter of his generation, brash and unashamed of his own greatness. The minister was 37, the most electrifying public speaker in America, a man who could silence a room and then set it alight with a single sentence. They found in each other something rare, an equal, two young black men who believed conviction and greatness were not separate things. Malcolm X played a direct and documented role in Cassius Clay's conversion to Islam. He arranged for Clay to attend Nation of Islam meetings in Detroit and Miami. Clay attended quietly at first, curious rather than committed, asking careful questions afterward. He was present at Clay's training camp in the weeks before the first fight against Sonny Liston. When Clay stunned the world by beating Liston, he announced the next day that he was a member of the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X stood beside him at that press conference, witnessing a declaration that would change both of their lives. The Nation of Islam gave Clay a new name, Muhammad Ali. The champion accepted it. Much of the American press refused to use it for years, calling him by the name he had already left behind. Some called it defiance, others called it betrayal. Ali did not answer the criticism. He used his new name for the rest of his life until the world had no choice but to follow. Weeks after the Liston fight, Malcolm X publicly broke with the Nation of Islam. He had once trusted the organization's leadership, but discovered evidence of serious misconduct and could not remain a member in good conscience. His break was total, and it was immediately dangerous. Former colleagues publicly accused him of treachery. Threats against his life began almost at once, spoken openly in the pages of the nation's own newspaper. The Nation of Islam instructed its members to shun Malcolm X. Ali complied. Former colleagues who once sought his counsel now crossed the street to avoid him. In a documented encounter at a hotel in Accra, Ghana, Ali publicly turned his back on Malcolm X in front of witnesses, declining to acknowledge the man who had brought him into the faith. Malcolm X was reportedly deeply hurt by the encounter. It was among the last times they saw each other. In 1964, Malcolm X made the pilgrimage to Mecca, the Hajj required of every Muslim who is able. What he found there changed his theology completely. He saw Muslims of every race and nation worshiping together as equals, something his years within the Nation of Islam had not prepared him to expect. He later called it the first time race had not weighed on a room around him. He wrote letters home describing an experience that had dismantled his previous understanding of race and religion. He returned to America with a new name, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, and a new vision of faith and justice. On February 21, 1965, Malcolm X was shot and killed while preparing to speak at the Audubon Ballroom in New York City. He was 39 years old. 3 men were later convicted in connection with the killing, though questions about that day persisted for decades. Ali later said publicly that his failure to stand by Malcolm X during that final dangerous year was one of the great regrets of his life, a debt he carried for the 5 decades that followed. Both men continued to evolve after the split that had divided them. Ali moved away from the Nation of Islam and toward Orthodox Sunni Islam, completing the same spiritual journey Malcolm X had already made and paid for with his life. In their own time, by separate paths, both men arrived at the same faith shared by over 1 billion people. Their paths, which had diverged in anger and fear, converged again in faith neither man had fully anticipated. They were friends for barely 3 years. In that short time, their friendship produced one of the most significant religious and political announcements in 20th century America. The split cost Malcolm X his most famous ally in the final year of his life, and it cost Ali a friendship he would spend the rest of his own life trying to explain. Some debts in history cannot be repaid, but some debts, at least, can still be named.